Now,
Hey y'all, welcome to the latest episode, the week 4 preview of the B&E podcast presented by Premium. We're focused on all things football. Hello to my co-host, my partner in crime, my editing guru. What's up, Ed? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Purple Friday in Baltimore. We're close to
Okay.
Saturday, so we can count that the same. We get a little bit extension playing late on Sunday night. Y'all know I'm not a fan of prime time, but we'll got to deal with it. I guess if they give it to us, we got to take it or leave it. So it is what
I
it
hear
is.
you. I hear you. All right, man. Let's get this opening drive started. Raiders are expected to stick with Gardner Minshew as their starting quarterback. Good luck to them. The NFL has upheld the one-game suspension of safety Derwin James. He will miss the AFC West showdown with the Chiefs. Perfect timing for the Chiefs. Former Vikings quarterback Tommy Kramer announces his dementia diagnosis, said he was inspired by Brett Favre coming out with his Parkinson's diagnosis. Prayers to him. Micah Parsons had an MRI on his injured ankle Thursday night, while Malik Neighbors is in concussion protocol, and Cowboys DN DeMarcus Lawrence is reported to miss multiple weeks of a football injury. Speaking of that, let's jump right into that Thursday night game that we had yesterday. Cowboys beat the Giants um, 20-15. Sloppy game, in my opinion. A lot of penalties. Um, I've seen the light. The clouds, when Daniel Jones played against the Commanders, my judgment of him was clouded. But I can see clearly now the rain is gone. Daniel Jones, I'm finally gonna admit it, he's trash. The Giants had
Yep.
many opportunities to win this game. I mean, overthrows, underthrows. I mean, I remember one play he got him to jump off sides. He had Darius Slayton open. He beat Trayvon Diggs, underthrew him, and Trayvon Diggs was able to intercept the ball. Even though it was a penalty on the Cowboys, it didn't count. But plays like that, you got to take advantage of. All field goals for the Giants, pretty much. Malik Neighbors, he's the one bright light for the Giants, it seems. But unfortunately, he's in concussion protocol, as we mentioned earlier. I'm not sure if he'll play next week. I think when players get knocked out, because it looked like when he attempted to make that catch on late in the game, it looked like he got himself knocked out when he fell on his face. So I doubt he's going to play next week. Maybe he does. We'll see. But he's the only bright light or potential I see for the Giants going forward. They got to do something at the quarterback position. Yeah, Daniel Jones, this isn't it, man. You look at his stats, you might say, oh, well, 29 or 40, not too bad. When they needed a play to happen, he didn't make that play. The Cowboys, they can't run the ball still. They had a couple of good runs, but Zeke Elliott, I don't know. Maybe he just needs to keep working. Maybe he'll get good down the line. But right now, him and Rico Dotto and Deuce Vaughn just ain't cutting it. Dak and company, I don't know. Dak looked all right. Him and CD had a connection. I like Jake Ferguson, but I just don't know. They played a team. They needed to win. They played the Giants and they got to win. So I'm just not sure. But Daniel Jones is trash. I see the light now, Brandon. I'm gonna let you have the floor now. What do you think?
Yeah, my dad used to always say you need to win. You play them Giants in prime time. His team, man, he knew what it was, and I used to be like, "You sure, Dad? You think they ain't gonna get a win this time?" No, they ain't gonna get a win, son. So he was always right, and my response to that is hell. Just play them anytime at this damn rate. 1-3, 0-2 at home. Dak now has won 13 straight games against the Giants. Just an absolute domination of him. Uh, I used to always talk about Aaron Rodgers, how he used to say he owned the Bears. Shit, Dak owns the Giants.
Pretty
Period.
much at this
But
point.
yeah, shout out to the Dallas run defense. I didn't see much of this game, but shout out to
They
the
ain't
run
missed nothing.
defense for the for the Cowboys. Shut it down 26 yards after surrendering 274 against the Ravens last week, and four rush touchdowns against Alvin Kamara the week before. They definitely needed a good defensive um, game for morale for that. Definitely that run defense for sure. But Malik Neighbors continues to be a problem for defensive coordinators. What he had 12 receptions, 115 yards. Hope he's okay and able to get back on the field as soon as possible. But yeah, Dallas now 2-2. The Giants, as usual, at the bottom of the NFC East, and they have a very tough stretch in their next 5 games. Actually, let me go to it. They get a couple days extra rest. Obviously, they got at Seattle. They'll host the Bengals, host the Eagles, at Pittsburgh, and the Commanders after that. For the second time, it'll be at MetLife. So, yeah, tough stretch. And then they get the Panthers. Unless Bryce Young is back out there, they might lose to the Panthers too. So make that 6 games. They got a very tough stretch. So Brian Dable, I think that seat continues to get hot with him. I think I said it in our preview show in the beginning of the year and in the offseason. He might end up right back in Buffalo where he came from. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on this game.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what happens with that. All right, let's get into a playoff rematch that happened last year. We got the Eagles going against the Bucks. Last year the Eagles defense toward the end of the year had a complete collapse. The Bucks were able to take advantage of that. Baker Mayfield got a win, helped him renew his career, got a new contract with the Bucks going into this season. Bucks coming off a loss I find strange. They lost to Denver last week, 26-7. I don't know if that was an anomaly with Denver or what's going on. Maybe the Bucks are in the slide, but I do know that the Bucks will be without their All-Pro safety Antoine Winfield and their starting D lineman Kalijah Kancey. They're both going to be out. I think those specifically that Antoine Winfield is going to be a big loss for the Bucks. AJ Brown, he's returned to practice and is questionable, so he might play. But Devonta Smith, he'll be out. He's still dealing with those concussion systems after he got knocked out last week. But I'm going to lean towards the Eagles in this one. I think that addition of Saquon Barkley, I think they're going to pound a rock. Saquon Barkley going to do Saquon Barkley things and continue to thrust himself. I'm going to thrust him into that MVP conversation. I think I can see him having multiple touchdowns on the ground and in the air. I think Dallas Goedert, I think he has an opportunity to, capitalize on what he did last week. We had 170 yards. I don't know if he'll get those many put up numbers like that again, but with Devonta Smith out, potentially AJ Brown not playing, I can see him being a number one target in the air along with Jahan Dotson. So I see him doing well. And then honestly, that defense against the Falcons, not the Falcons, against I'm tripping. I forgot who they played last week, but Saints, yeah, against the Saints. I think they're turning the corner. I really do like this rookie Quinyon Mitchell a lot. They do have a tough task with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, but I think they'll be able to pressure Baker Mayfield a little bit more than they were in that playoff game last year. And I think these new additions on the defensive side of the ball, CJ Gardner-Johnson's back in tow. I think they'll be able to slow down Mike Evans and crew just a little bit. Also, these last couple of weeks, Mike Evans hasn't done too much. He could have a good game because it is the Eagles. Like you say, you're not too sold on their secondary. But I have a feeling they'll have a better showing than they did in the playoffs. So I'm going to go with the Eagles on this one. What about you?
For the Eagles, they're 1-1 and they've been very close games as well. I think the game plan might be a little bit different in this one for Philadelphia. I think they got to, like you said, use Saquon Barkley, run the ball. But it might be good to open up the pass game against Tampa Bay's defense. They've only sacked the quarterback twice in 3 games. They don't really have a pass rush, in my opinion. Back end is pretty solid with them, but like you said, Antoine Winfield is out for this one, so we'll see how that goes. I say stretch it out, test those corners, test those safeties. Dallas Goedert, he's coming off a huge game. Try to keep the momentum running with him. I think he had double-digit catches and receptions last week. Tampa Bay, though, they've been really good against the tight ends, but Goddard is probably the second best tight end that they've faced this season after Sam LaPorta. And again, and they shut him down. I think it was in week 2. Tampa offensively, I think they need to establish the run again. That's something they struggled to do last week against Denver. Part of the reason why Denver upset them. Again, Philadelphia, like you mentioned, I'm not sold on their secondary. I don't fear them. I know we play them later this season, so yeah, attack their corners like other teams have done so far this season. I'm though leaning towards the Bucks in this one. I don't think they'll lose two straight right now. But Philly somehow seems to find ways to win games. Um, just when you think they might not beat this opponent or something, they just find ways to win games, and they're definitely good early in the season for sure. So yeah, I'm gonna roll with the home team in this one, and hopefully my guy Vita Vea is back out there. I don't see him on the injury report. I know he was on the injury report earlier this week, so hopefully he's out there. I always like to watch him play.
All right. Before we get on to the next matchup, this episode is brought to you by Premium, a CBD and wellness company. Check out their full line of CBD infused products, which make great stocking stuffers for the upcoming holiday season. Perfect for athletes, weekend warriors, soccer moms, and even armchair quarterbacks. They have CBD infused honey, which is a personal favorite, as well as tinctures and mint and regular flavor. Most importantly, they are veteran and women owned, so come get some of this sweet temptation and taste a premium difference. Use code BNE for 15% off your order. Their website is premium.com. That's PREHEMIUM.com. Again, that's PREHEMIUM.com. And now let's get back to our show.
Everyone, the Chiefs, the 3-0 Chiefs, will head into sunny California this weekend and take on the 2-1 Chargers Sunday afternoon. It's the 1:25 local kickoff and 4:25 on the East Coast. Heading into week 3, I thought this was going to be a good matchup, possibly something that the Chargers could pull off. Now you've got a banged up quarterback. Two key offensive linemen are likely out. Derwin James, of course, suspended, as we mentioned in the opening drive. And of course, it would be for this game against the Chiefs. Derwin James is really good at covering Travis Kelce, in my opinion. I know he had a big hit on him. I think it was 2 years ago, right near the end zone. So I'm expecting Kelce to have his breakout game, which he's kind of been quiet this year. They haven't been targeting him as much. But I do feel like the Chargers can keep it close. One, because of that run game. I think they're damn near top in the league in rushing. And two, because Kansas City has played their each of their first 3 games very close, and they've let opponents stick around as well. J.K. Dobbins, again, back to him, 3rd in the league in rushing. I expect to want him to feed him early, especially with the injuries on the offensive line and obviously the quarterback, Herbert. He left the game against Pittsburgh early, didn't return, and we saw how that turned very fast to the South. They pretty much lost that game right then and there once he went out. And Kansas City is near the bottom league in several defensive categories as well. But I am going to go with the Chiefs. Obviously, here with the injuries, plus, LA's coming off a tough loss last week. Pacheco, he missed the game last week, of course. I think he's gone for several weeks, if not the season. But they bring in a rookie quarterback out of UCLA, 17 carries for 72 yards. I can't remember the guy's name, but
Carson Steele.
Thank you. Steele. He looked like another notable quarterback out of UCLA, Maurice Jones-Drew. He was downhill, he was big, he was physical, and pretty much dominating there for the Chiefs. But good teams, again, they find ways to win. Chargers fans, they don't really show up at SoFi, so they kind of be like playing at home for the Chiefs as well. Here comes 4-0 for the Chiefs. I'm already prepared for it. I'd be shocked if the Chargers can pull this one off. How do you feel about this one?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm leaning towards the Chiefs too. Like you said, the linemen are going to be out. Rashawn Slater, they're saying he's out. Joey Bosa, he's also going to be out. So that's a huge loss for them on the defensive side. And their linebacker, Junior Colson. Even if Herbert plays, he's probably going to be like less than 100% with that high ankle sprain. So all that being said, I'm going to lean towards the Chiefs. Even historically, even with Derwin James playing, though, Kelce usually has good games against the Chargers, even if he got body slammed to hell with Derwin James. So I still think, like you said, Kelce's going to have a big game, a breakout game. But maybe if that running game does get working for the Chargers, maybe they can try to implement what our Commanders did against the Bengals, where they keep Mahomes and crew off the field long enough where they can win the game. I don't know if that'll be able to happen because our quarterback, It's probably better than the backup quarterbacks they have, the Chargers, I mean. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs with this one. I think they'll find a way to win, even with the injuries they have in the backfield. Like you mentioned, Carson Steele, Kareem Hunt, they signed him. He's probably going to play this week. I think he was on the practice squad last week. I think he'll probably play this week. See how much of a contribution he does. And P. Ryan looked pretty good out the backfield, too. Gadget type guy, was able to run the ball and catch the ball out of the backfield. So as long as the Chiefs don't turn the ball over, don't make any mistakes, I think they should win this one. I mean, Vegas has them as a 7-point favorite. I can see them def covering that. So yeah,
Sure.
I'm gonna go with the Chiefs with this one. I'll be interested to see if the Chargers get healthy later in the season when they meet the Chiefs again, how that one looks. But for right now, definitely leaning towards the Chiefs too.
All right, two teams both sponsored by M&T Bank. They'll duel it out, and on Sunday Night Football, excuse me, I will have my TV on mute. Me personally, Chris Collinsworth, obviously, you know I'm not a fan of him, but it's the Bills and the Ravens, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Excuse me, 8 p.m. Eastern time on NBC. Your thoughts on this one?
I was texting you earlier that was confident the Ravens will win. I was looking at the injury report though, and I see that y'all are dealing with some injuries on along your O line. It's like Lindenbaum's didn't practice Wednesday. Makari didn't practice Wednesday, and I think they're saying that Andrew Voorhees, I think he's like your starting guard. I think there's a high chance he's gonna miss the game too. So that gives me a pause for concern. Wonder how you guys gonna deal with pass protection and in the run game now. If that wasn't the case, I think y'all would beat the Bills. They're going to be without two guys that they've been missing a little bit already. Their defensive back, Teron Johnson, and then Terrell Bernard. He's out too as he got hurt earlier against the Dolphins. So that might be something you guys can take advantage of. But you're going to have to get Josh Allen that offense off the field. I think Dalton Kincaid might have a good game. I'm not too concerned about the receivers, but I think Dalton Kincaid might have a good game. That being said, please, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, get those guys involved early and often, and then feed Derrick Henry. 20 carries again, 20. I don't know if he'll get 25 carries like he did against the Cowboys. I think he needs at least 20 carries. Open up that play action a little bit. Let Zay Flowers and those guys eat. I'm gonna still pick y'all guys though. I don't know. I know the Bills are 3-0, but it's something I haven't seen, or I don't know. Is it something? Is a feeling I got about the Bills that I'm not too sold on them yet. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Ravens in this one. How are you feeling?
Man, you know more than I did. I had no idea we had that many lineman issues coming in this week, man. That's not good. I mean, we're coming off our best week as far as offense goes and the offensive line. So to think that that's going to be even more we got to worry about. I'm sure Makari's going to get moved to left guard because he's usually the flex guy, and then they'll probably put Rosengarten in at right tackle if I had to guess. Linderbaum, he's very tough. I think he'll end up playing. I'd be shocked if he's out. But to the rest of the game, 2022, Buffalo beat us 23-20. The wild card in 2020, they beat us 17-3, and then 2019, we got a win. That was in our 13-3 season when Lamar had his first MVP. We beat him 24-17. So we're 1-2 against Josh Allen. They're coming off of two dominating wins, sitting at 3-0. Obviously, I think we still got a shot in this one. They've given up 92, 130, and 139 rushing yards per game in their first three games. So clearly, just like Dallas, there's room to run the ball on their defense. Todd Monken's stick to the script, my guy, run it down their throats. Again, that's how we did in Dallas. We came out on top with a win. It was kind of close there, obviously, too close for comfort, but we'll take it. Defensively, we know what we got to do. Keep Josh Allen in the pocket, man. We know that when he can get out of the pocket and use his legs, he is damn near unstoppable. And I was surprised he didn't even have that many rushing yards against the Jags. The Jaguars couldn't stay on offense, so that's how they ended up scoring so much. But yeah, I'm also a bit worried about James Cook. He's been coming on. This is what Buffalo fans have been wanting. This is what the media's been wanting. They actually got a run game now. So yeah, I'm a little bit more concerned with James Cook than I am with Josh Allen. I think we can contain Josh Allen. We did bring back Yannick Ngakwe earlier this week. Hopefully he could play on Sunday. It's something about those veteran defensive linemen. When we sign them during the season, they tend to have the breakout game in their first game back. Um, I'm not sure what the game plan is for him, but hopefully he's out there. He pretty much knows the defense. It's a different defense coordinator, obviously, than he was there, but anybody can line up and just push and turn and make cuts and get to the quarterback. So let's do it, Yannick. We do need a little bit of pass rush in this one against a good quarterback in Josh Allen. Under the lights, we typically win these games at home. Plus, we're wearing all black. Historically, we played good in those way back to the Ed Reed and Ray Lewis days. And my guy, Mark Ingram, will be back. He's the legend of the game. We always have before our home games that come out with the shield, get the crowd hyped up. And, he's big on getting the crowd hyped up because he did the whole Lamar Jackson big trust in the press conference a couple years ago when Lamar won MVP. So that'll be exciting to see as well. I'm going to go with the Ravens in this one as well. I think Buffalo will suffer their first loss of the season. Plus, like I mentioned on Tuesday, these games against the AFC are must win. Last week was because we were pushing 0-3, but it's must win against Buffalo and Cincinnati back to back because they come down to the final standings in the AFC of where we would sit if we go to the playoffs. So yeah, give me Baltimore in this one.
Gotcha. All right, let's move on to an NFC North matchup. You got the Packers at the Vikings. Brandon, how you feeling about this one?
Man, bulletin board material. I don't know if you heard this. Aaron Jones said he plans to definitely leap into the stands there at Lambeau Field if he scores against his former team. It's going to be odd to see. I haven't caught the Vikings in a full game yet. It's definitely going to be odd to see him against his former team there. So yeah, I'm sure the Packers defense will definitely focus on keeping him out of the end zone and trying to slow down Justin Jefferson too. Obviously, I'm looking forward to the matchup between Justin Jefferson and Jaire Alexander, two of the best at their positions. Jaire's coming off of a pick six game against the Titans, and he should be on the radar of Sam Ghostman Darnold at all times. Sam Darnold should be looking out for him for sure. But yeah, the Vikings offensive line will have their hands full with that Green Bay pass rush. They're coming off of 8 sacks against Tennessee on the road. Sam Darnold has been sacked 8 times all year long in 3 games, but he's definitely played some good football. We've talked about the fact that we don't trust him, but you got to give it to him. He's been playing good. He'll need to protect the ball. Green Bay's defense has forced the most turnovers in the league with 7 so far. So yeah, and we know Sam Darnold can be generous with the ball at times. So look out for that one. Green Bay, I think they got some momentum. Jordan Love said he wants to play. I don't think that he's gonna end up playing in this one. I know we talked about it on Tuesday. I think you was more so he should play if he's healthy. I was more so let him sit against that Vikings defense. I don't think that with the way that they can rush the quarterback, I would want to put him out there. But yeah, my mind is telling me to go with the better defense in this one, which is Minnesota. But I think Green Bay will win at home, someplace, a place where they play very good at, obviously, despite possibly being without their franchise player. I got the Packers winning by 4. Give me 24-20, the final in this one. How about you?
Yeah, it's a toss up for me, man. I wish I knew if Jordan Love was playing or not. That would help me more with my decision. If Malik Willis is playing, I'm leaning more to the Vikings. But if Jordan Love does end up playing, then it's a definite toss up for me. Like you said, I know Sam Darnold has been playing well, but is he going to continue to play well? Is he going to go back to his normal, what we know
Yeah.
of him? I'm not too sure. He is getting a weapon back. Jordan Addison is coming back, so that's another plus for that Vikings offense that'll help things out. I really do hope to see Aaron Jones get in the end zones. I want to see him do the Lambeau leap and how fans will react to that. If somebody will try to do something crazy or not, I doubt it, but you never know. But yeah, man, if Jordan Love plays, I like the Packers a little bit more. I think that Packers defense can frustrate Sam Darnold. And I think Josh Jacobs, they'll rely on him a little bit more too. But if Malik Willis is playing, I think Brian Flores will frustrate him. And I don't think he'll be able to do what he did against the Titans. So yeah, it's a tough one for me. I know that Brian Flores has got that defense. I think Brock Purdy had good things to say about him. Even CJ Stroud last week. I saw a clip of after the game, him dapping up Brian Flores is like, man, that defense is really good. So I guess right now I'm gonna go with the Vikings, but if Jordan Love plays, I'm gonna go with the Packers. So I think even with him being out for the last 2 to 3 weeks, I like him a lot bit more actually than I do Sam Darnold. Even though Sam Darnold's been playing well, and Kevin O'Connell has been looking like a coach of the year so far with how he's transformed Sam Darnold. So yeah, overall, I'll take the Vikings in this one. But if Jordan Love plays, I will go with the Packers.
All right, one of his favorite offensive coordinators, Nathaniel Hackett, will host his former team at MetLife on Sunday. It's Broncos at Jets, CBS, Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to turn the floor to you. I know this is your guy, offensive coordinator with the Jets, but obviously there's more to this game than him.
Yeah, Hackett returning to the Broncos. Will he call a masterclass as a revenge? Maybe. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is healthy. He looked like he's getting more and more back to his old self, getting comfortable with that offense against the Patriots last week. The Broncos are going to be without their leading tackler, linebacker Alex Singleton. So that's a plus for the Jets. But as we saw last week, towards the end of the game, Morgan Moses went down. I think he's going to be out. So I wonder how that O-line is going to look because they had some concerns going into the season. Now they're going to be without one of their starting linemen. So I wonder how much of an effect that's going to have on them. But as long as Aaron Rodgers is healthy, Brees Hall and Braylon Allen, both of those guys look good. Of course, Garrett Wilson, but I like the connection that Aaron is having with their tight end, Tyler Conklin. I like the Jets in this one. Vegas got them as a 7.5-point favorite. I could see them easily covering that. But I don't know. The Broncos came out last week. Bo Nix played really well against the Bucs. Was that an anomaly, or did they turn the corner? Did Bo Nix finally start getting comfortable? The game slowed down for him, and will they come upset the Jets? I doubt it. I'm gonna go with the Jets in this one. I think they should win easily, even without Morgan Moses. I think there's might be a chance that their CJ Mosley doesn't play either. But even with that, I like the Jets. I think their defense is gonna overwhelm Bo Nix. I don't think the Jets, or excuse me, I don't think the Broncos will be able to run the ball like that. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Jets in this one. How about you, Brandon?
What we need them. Jets, Jets. All right. I know the offensive line is banged up for them. Like you mentioned, Morgan Moses, he'll miss this one. But they'll have the rookie tackle, Olu Fashanu. If I'm pronouncing that right, I hope I am. He's out of Penn State. Start the game in his place, in Morgan's place, to protect the veteran Aaron Rodgers in this one. This Jets team, I think, is a very quiet 2-1, but they'll have their hands full of a Denver defense. They're third overall in yards per game allowed. Vance Joseph's unit is only giving up 133 yards per game in the air, by the way. Kind of hard to believe a team that, gave up 70 points last year is, doing this good defensively this year. Obviously, things are different from then to now. But anyway, both of these defenses actually are doing good. The Jets are ranked number 7 in overall, but they sacked the quarterback the best overall. That's their strength of their defense. 14 takedowns, led by their second-year guy, Big Will McDonald, and his 5 sacks, which I think he's top 5 in the league as well. I think it'll be a closer game, honestly, because of the defenses. I think they'll both make some noise in this one, but I got to give the edge to the veteran Aaron Rodgers as opposed to Bo Nix and the Broncos offense. I got the Jets by a field goal in this one.
Gotcha.
All right. Several other games on the calendar for week 3. And I think I'm missing some here. Okay.
Week 4.
Commanders at Cardinals, Saints at Falcons, Rams at Bears, Pittsburgh at Indianapolis, Cincy at Carolina, Jags at Texans, Patriots at 49ers, Browns at Raiders, and a Monday night football doubleheader, Titans at Dolphins, and Seahawks at Lions. Which of these games are you going to have your close eye on Sunday and Monday?
Uh, I got hope in the Commanders again, so I'm tuning into that game against the Cardinals. I think Kyler Murray is going to throw a party against us, but I'll still tune in to see if Jaden Daniels can, replicate that performance he had last week. Pittsburgh and Indy. For some reason, I don't know why I think Anthony Richardson is going to have a good game against that Steelers defense. Conventional wisdom should say the Steelers defense should beat the hell out of the Colts, but I don't know. For some reason, I'm just thinking Anthony Richardson is going to pull something out of his ass and beat the Steelers. I could be wrong, though. Let's see. What other games I'm looking at? The Monday night game, Seahawks at the Lions. I think that'll be a good one. Rams at Bears. Will Caleb be able to, he threw for 300 plus yards last week. I think he could have a chance of doing that against the Rams too. The Rams defense hasn't been looking good so far. So yeah, I like that one too. And then of course, Cincy, Carolina, Red Rocket playing against his former team, the Bengals. So want to see how that looks as well. What about you? What are these games you're looking at?
The Monday night football game, Titans and Dolphins. It might be a start for Snoop Huntley, former Raven Tyler Huntley, better known to most people around the league, a Pro Bowl quarterback, by the way. If Skylar Thompson cannot get out there against Will Levis and company, I think Will Levis focused too much on his mayonnaise commercials during the offseason. That's part of the reason why they're 0-3. Jags at Texans. We all saw how the Jags played last week. This Texans team is coming off of a very bad, embarrassing loss as well. So they'll be back at home where they're really good. Looking forward to that one. Commanders and Cardinals, two electric quarterbacks, man. I mentioned on Tuesday, I really love to watch Kyler Murray play. When he starts scrambling around in that in that pocket, you don't know what's going to happen. But he just makes plays. And then Jaden Daniels, obviously coming off of NFC Player of the Week performance on Monday night under the lights. Very good game. Set records, franchise records, and rookie records. Definitely will be looking forward to that as well. And yeah, as you mentioned, Cincy and Carolina. What are they? They got a better record than Cincinnati. Who would ever thought that? The Red Rifle getting his second start, and of course against his former team that drafted him way back when. So we'll see how he fares against his former defense and former team when they come to the Carolinas this weekend.
Yeah, and I can hear it now in that Commanders-Cardinals game. Marvin Harrison with another catch for a touchdown. Marvin Harrison with another catch for a first down. I can already hear it coming, but we'll see how it goes. All right, let's get into the guaranteed picks of the week for us. This week has been a little tougher for me to pick. I'm gonna go with the Jets against the Broncos. I like that as my guaranteed pick of the week. I'm also gonna be a little bold again. I'm guaranteeing that the Ravens are gonna beat the Bills, and I'm doing the same thing. If y'all lose, I'll do that'll be 3 losses, right? So I'll do 30 push-ups, 10 push-ups for each loss. So yeah. Broncos, the Jets, I got the Jets, and Ravens, I got y'all beating the Bills, guaranteed, or I'm doing 30 push-ups. Just for the Ravens Bills. I ain't doing it for the Jets Broncos. Fuck all that. What about you?
I'll tell you to go to the gym this week or prepare for your push-ups. I think I agree. I think we will win this one. So no rebuttal against that. I'm going with Houston over Jacksonville. Have y'all seen how the Jaguars started this season? I am no longer coming on here saying Duval. No. No. And plus the Texans, they've owned the Jaguars over the years. At home, on the road, they've owned them. Big AFC South matchup. Doug Peterson, again, I feel like he's going to be your first coach fired, and this might be another step towards that process. I think the Texans get back right against this very young and very weak Jaguars defense. And of course, Trevor Lawrence and those guys are just, they cannot move the ball worth a damn. And he's overthrowing, underthrowing. You mentioned Daniel Jones, how he was overthrowing and underthrowing. Trevor Lawrence playing a game with him. He competing right there with him for sure. So yeah, I
Yeah, they
got
might be in the
Houston
same
over
category.
Jacksonville. My
Yeah.
guarantee. All right. One more thing before we go. We've got our state of the NFL segment. We're going to talk about the strongest 3-0 teams, as well as those most likely to go, those that are 0-3 and or 1-2, basically the lower tier teams. Which of them will make the playoffs? Let's start with our strongest 3-0 teams. We got Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Minnesota, and Seattle. They're all 3-0. Me personally, of course, I trust Kansas City the most. It hurts me on the inside to pick them, but they're the strongest. I mean, we're so used to this. This is nothing new, obviously. But if I had to pick elsewhere, I'd go with Seattle. Not because our former defensive coordinator is their head coach, but because the defense has made a turnaround. They've improved they've improved a lot from last season, and the offense has been doing this thing out there, led by Geno Smith. I got an honorable mention. It's Pittsburgh. Um, all I think about every time I watch them, though, is how I think it was 2020 when they started like 8-0, and then y'all beat them first. I can't
Hmm.
remember what year
I
that
had a
was, but I
feeling
think
we
it
was
was
gonna win that
2020.
game too. I won a bet from
Yeah,
that game. Shout out my boy Keith.
and you used to say every week that it's like, this is the worst undefeated team ever. This is the worst, and this is probably the worst undefeated team again. Definitely on offense. The defense, we know they is just them in Minnesota on defense is just stout. We know that for sure. But offensively, we know that's an issue. But I think again, you got the Tomlin factor, you got the defensive factor as well, and plus they're back to running the ball as well. So you can have mediocre quarterback play out there if you got to, when you got those two things right there. So yeah, Kansas City, of course, first, the strongest 3-0 team, in my opinion. Seattle, number two, up there in the Pacific Northwest. And the Pittsburgh Steelers. How do you feel about the 3-0 teams that are out there?
Yeah, I think out of all these teams, the best quarterback is Mahomes, and I like Kansas City defense too. So I'm agree with you that Kansas City is the strongest 3-0 team as well. The weakest, probably agree with you. It's a tie for me between Pittsburgh and Minnesota, even though they both have stout defenses. And even though Sam Darnold's been playing well, shutting people up, I'm still not sold on him. Same for Justin Fields. That offense looks a little better. He hasn't been turning the ball over that much, but I think if Chargers Justin Herbert didn't get hurt, I like the way the Chargers were looking in that game. Even though it was 10-10, I think they would have pulled it out. So I think it's a tie between Minnesota and Pittsburgh for them being the weakest 3-0 team. Even though they could, out of all these teams, they could be the ones who last undefeated the longest. But yeah, I have to give it to Buffalo, even though I texted you, I said I think they're frauds. Even though I think they're frauds, they have been really balanced. The defense has surprised me. James Cook, like you mentioned, has been able to run the ball well, and Josh Allen, he's spreading it around. There were concerns about the weapons and the receivers, but he's been spreading around. Khalil Shakir looks like he's breaking out as that number one target as far as receivers, and they got two pretty good tight ends in Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid. So I'm gonna give them the second strongest 3-0 team. It's just something about Geno Smith. I know he's turned his career around, but there's games where he looks great, and he still has some games where he doesn't look so great. So
Mhm.
I'm not really sold on him as much as I am the other quarterbacks, meaning Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. So they're in the middle for me as far as the 3-0 teams.
All right. Which winless team or one win team do we feel the most confident with to make the leap into the playoffs for this season here, the 2024 season? I got to lean towards San Francisco. They got a lot of guys banged up. If those guys can slowly start to get back out there, they've got the experience, they've got the coaching, and they've got the players to in my opinion, make the playoffs. The Raiders, believe it or not, they dominated the Ravens in the fourth quarter in week 2. I know they had an embarrassing loss against the Panthers last week, but they also played pretty good in the second half of week 1 as well against the Los Angeles Chargers. They still got a great pass rush. We know what Max Crosby and big Christian Wilkins can do. Shoot, Crosby by himself can do. And of course, Antonio Pierce, he's a great young head coach. I really think they like playing for him, and I think they'll play tough for him, kind of like the Steelers do for Mike Tomlin. And they'll find a way to it. If they don't make the playoffs, they'll at least be 500 or better under him. And of course, I got to go with the team that I thought they was going to go to the AFC Championship, the Cincinnati Bengals. 0-3. They always start slow, but then they typically turn it on mid-season, and I think they will turn it on again. Jamar Chase is back. Was it T. Higgins is back? They still got to establish and work on that run game. They still got some veterans on defense that can make plays. I think they'll start to figure it out as well. And Cincinnati will make some noise and possibly get into the playoffs. What about you? What about your 0-3 teams or 1-win teams that can
I'm gonna start
make
with
the
the 0
playoffs?
and 3 teams, and I agree with you. The Bengals, as long as they got a healthy Joe Burrow, I think they'll be all right. I am concerned about that defense, though.
Yeah,
It's like Trey Hendrickson is the only guy I know on the D line right now who can make pressures, but somebody else is gonna have to step up.
Sam Hubbard.
And
Yeah,
we'll see what happens to that. As far as 1 and 2 teams, of course, I got your Ravens, Baltimore Ravens. I definitely think they'll turn things around as far as getting to the playoffs. I think they'll still have a good shot at that. San Fran, of course, they're dealing with some injuries right now, but I like their chances too. Cleveland, Deshaun Watson is just, I don't know. Miles Garrett, he's dealing with some injuries now too, but they will be getting David Njoku back. I don't know how effective Nick Chubb will be when he gets back. He's on the pup list, but eventually he will be back. He will be back, and I'm wondering if that will help them turn things around too. But it's just Deshaun Watson. I know he's got a lot of things he's dealing with off the field. His dad just passed away a few weeks ago himself, so I know that's a big loss. He's dealing with that as well. But I don't know. It's Cleveland. The last couple of years, every time I pick against them, they win games. They find a way to win games. So I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow go on a run. I'm kind of hoping Deshaun Watson turns it around, even though all the stuff he's dealing with off the field as well. I'm trying to think. I don't know about anybody else. I could honestly see the Panthers kind of doing like Joe Flacco did with the Browns last year. I could see
yeah.
Andy Dalton turning the Panthers around. Like I said, he was a breath of fresh air for that offense last week. Chuba Hubbard was able to eat. Deontay Johnson, the guy they brought in to be the number 1 receiver, looked like the number 1 receiver when Andy Dalton was on the field. So I don't know. I could see the Panthers somehow coming out there and doing some things. And they drafted a running back this year out of Texas, Jonathan Brooks, I want to say his name is. When he gets healthy, which he should be in the next few weeks, I wouldn't be surprised if he makes an immediate impact for that offense too. So my dark horse right now is the Panthers, but definitely Baltimore and San Fran. And I think the Falcons, they'll be around. I think the Falcons will be around. They got weapons on offense, that defense, Jesse Bates and crew. I think they'll be all right as well. So give me Baltimore, San Fran, the Falcons, Cleveland. I'm going to put Cleveland in the dark horse category, Cleveland and the Panthers. Yeah, for sure.
Andy Dalton may have saved Dave Canales' job. You know how the Panthers ownership is down there with coaches in the first year.
Yeah, he just might have. He might have saved his own job because he was the one who, went to ownership and the general manager like, hey, I want to get Bryce Young the hell out of here as far as being the starter. So yeah, he might have saved his own job doing that. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll definitely see. And we'll get back to you guys next week, recapping all these games and see how they do. But once again, I want to thank everybody who takes their time to watch the content. Like and subscribe on YouTube if you can. Just search for Breaking and Entering Podcast or B&E Podcast. And you guys have a safe and good weekend. All my folks down south who are dealing with that hurricane, please be safe and have a Godspeed and my prayers with y'all down there as well, dealing with all the flooding and stuff going on there. Please be safe out there. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy now.